Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I am showing you guys a slow down process exactly of how I create coloring pages. So most of the time I just use previous illustrations that I've done and I put them on my canvas and then I go over top of them and do all the line work. Coloring pages are a lot different because I do have to make sure like the lines are all closed, and it's hard because my style is a lot more loose and I don't close my lines, and so when I do have to go back into the coloring page process I have to make sure that all of my line work is clean and it makes sense as a coloring page because it's not me coloring it. I have to think about the other people that are coloring it and how they can color it or what, and the spaces that they would be filling. And I also have to remember to make sure to erase the parts of the pupils where the whites would be, because you don't typically use white crayons or markers or anything when you're coloring. So I started coloring pages a few months ago and I actually really enjoy making them because it's cool to think that, because I used to use coloring pages a lot, you know, in crayons and everything like that, so it's really cool to be able to make them for other people. And they're also a really fun option for international customers or international friends because in the shop, they don't have to pay any taxes for shipping or anything like that, and you can just download them right to your computer. And once you download them to your computer, you get to just print them off on whatever kind of paper you want. You can do thick card or just printer paper, and you can make as many copies as you want, and I only have them listed for $1 on the shop. But I think it's just a really fun way to be able to connect with you guys. And so the pen that I use to make the line art is different than the pen that I use to line my personal work. So when I do my personal work, I typically use a rough type of pencil, so that there's like some grit and texture because I don't like the clean lines as much. But I have to do the opposite when it comes to making the coloring pages, since they have to be clean and closed, and it makes it easier overall, and the lines always look crisp when they print. So the pen that I use is a default pen on Procreate called Script. So it's actually a calligraphy pen, but just the way it flows makes it a lot easier to make clean line work, as well as making sure I have the stabilization up. So I have it on 88% stabilization, I think. I actually ended up changing it to a higher percentage, like changing it to the 88. At the beginning you probably saw that after I had done some of the line work, because it wasn't flowing as smooth as I would have liked. So I ended up changing that and working with that a little bit. With this one, it was actually different than some of my other coloring pages because it's the Jaguar, and Jaguars have spots in these rosettes. And so I actually kind of had to make the decision of whether or not I was going to do solid black rosettes or if I was going to do them more like of an outline and then leave it up to everyone else to color in. But I thought I actually decided it would be a good opportunity to just completely fill them in black, because I don't do that a lot with my work. I don't have a lot of solid, strong colors like that, which I actually want to work on because I like that in other people's work. So I just decided to completely fill them in so that they were super bold and clean. I decided not to outline the foliage that I had in the original sketch, just because it makes it a lot simpler for me to make like that. But actually this coloring page won't be available in the shop because it is exclusively for my Patreon. It's a new tier reward that I added a few days ago, and so it's available for all tiers. I decided to add from the $1 tier and up the ability to get a printable coloring page every month, just because I figured it wasn't too much extra work. Since I've already done like this illustration for the Patreon, and I thought it would just be a fun little thing for the $1 patrons to get that little bonus printable. If you do want the coloring page, it's for January, and so it'll be available January 5th, I believe. So all the links to Patreon and everything are in my bio, and I also have a video about what Patreon is and everything like that on my channel that I posted a few weeks ago, so you can check that out too. I'll link it in the description. So I actually really struggled with doing the rosettes and the spots because, like I said, I'm not used to doing these big, bold pieces. I'm used to like really roughing things in and making it more vague and obscure. Probably because I can't commit to lines, which is also a reason why I have a lot of trouble with line work and making things clean. I'm a very rough sketcher, painter, and everything like that, and I use a lot of texture and things, so like having these straight up black outlines is very weird for me. And so this is kind of the first time that I was experimenting with it for this coloring page. So it was actually pretty tough for me doing these rosettes. As you could see, when I'm working on them, I end up undoing and redoing them a lot until I finally get like a shape that I like. So if you don't know, the program that I am using is Procreate, which is an app exclusive to the iPad and iPad Pro. It's widely used by most artists because of its versatility and its portability. I highly recommend using it. This isn't sponsored at all. I've been using it for the past 2.5, almost 3 years, and it's the best drawing app, hands down. I've tried most others, the free ones and everything like that. I've tried Photoshop. I for some reason, drawing on Photoshop just does not work for me. I don't know what it is. It's just I never connected with Photoshop at all. When I first got the iPad, I actually used Metabang Paint at first because that was also the computer program that I used before I switched to the iPad completely. And Metabang worked pretty well up until I was able to afford Procreate, and then when I was using Procreate, I completely saw the difference in how much better it was and how much funner it was. And I think the reason that a lot of people or a lot of artists choose Procreate over Photoshop is because Procreate is specifically tailored for drawing. And just the way that the layers work, the way that the brushes work, and everything is absolutely amazing. And you honestly don't realize how awesome it is until you try it. And so far, it hasn't failed me. One of the only drawbacks, honestly, to Procreate is that based on your canvas size, your layers are limited. And personally, I work on typically larger canvases because I want them to be as crisp and print quality as possible. So that's a problem, but honestly, other than that, there are no drawbacks to Procreate. And so if you do have an iPad and if you like to doodle or anything, I highly recommend it. It's honestly awesome. But yeah, Procreate definitely is the best for me in my creative process and working with all of this. So that's pretty much my process for making coloring pages. And actually, my phone ended up stopping the recording, which I was not happy about. So I inputted the actual speed paint from Procreate so that you guys can see the full process of finishing off the rosettes. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you enjoyed seeing the process of creating this coloring page. If you'd like to support me, please like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends, and also check out the description box below where I'm linking my Patreon and all of the other social media platforms where I post. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next week.